Alright there, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Another video on Old Red, our Project 1983 Peterbilt 359. You guys that have been following along know that I had this engine all apart and I had these cam followers off on cylinders 5 and 6. And when I put it all back together, I had a little bit of an oil leak. It's coming right from the back bottom corner, cam follower there, where you really can't see anything, and we got to try to do something about that. So I went around, kind of put a wrench on each of the bolts, hoping maybe I didn't get one of them very tight, but they're all pretty tight, so snugging them down tighter is not going to fix the problem, I'm sure. So basically what we're going to need to do is remove the cam followers on cylinders 5 and 6. We're going to take the starter off and get it out of the way so that we can actually see what we're doing this time. But unfortunately that means I have to take the entire valve train apart on the back two cylinders again. So that's what we're going to do, and luckily I think I can get to everything on the back two cylinders without taking anything else apart. So we're going to go ahead and take the valve covers, the rocker boxes, and the jakes off of 5 and 6. And then after we do that, we'll pull the push rods out. Then we can remove the cam followers. So anyway, let's get to it. Now when we remove these push rods, we want to make sure that we keep them in the same order that they come out, and keep track of them so that they can go back in the same spot they come out. So there's the head with the rocker boxes removed. Push rods are taken out. Go ahead and disconnect the batteries because we're going to be removing the starter next. Well, I see the issue. I missed a little piece of old gasket material in this corner down here. That's why it didn't seal. A little bit of gasket material. That's why we got to do all that. Now here's something to keep in mind when you're doing this. Because the cam followers are mounted on the side of the block and the cam is in the block, when you change the distance in or out from the block, you're affecting the timing of the engine. Now these gaskets come in various different thicknesses. You got 15 thousandths on this one, whereas this gasket only measures a mere 7 thousandths. They also come in as much as, see, this one is 33 thousandths of an inch. So these gaskets act as shims. Now there's a whole process you can use to set the timing and figure out the right number of shims or gaskets to go in there. But in this case, we're just going to replace the gaskets with the same thickness that was originally in there. And the original thickness was 14 thousandths of an inch, which is the same as the one that I had used previously. But seems how I've got more new gaskets. I'm going to go ahead and put another new gasket on here that measures 14 thousandths of an inch, and that's what we're going to install on here. So that's going to be this one here. I'm going to go ahead and hang that on the dowel pins. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of engine assembly lube on the camshaft just to make sure that it's got plenty of initial lubrication. Alright, now I've gone through and set the valves on cylinders 5 and 6 again. I kind of went through the overhead there last time, so I didn't record that again, but a few people had pointed out this trick here, and I didn't think nothing of it, but generally when you have a set of feeler gauges, you've got a whole big bunch of them here. Generally what I'll do is I'll pull out the ones that I'm going to need, so I got my intake and exhaust valves and my Jake brakes here. So these are the 3 feeler gauges that I'm using to set the overhead. And rather than sitting there and thumbing through, you know, all these feeler gauges every time, I just go ahead, take this loose, take the feeler gauges out that I need, and I'll run a zip tie through them so that they don't get lost or separated here. And then I only got to look through 3 of them to find the sizes that I need, and then when you're done, you just cut the zip tie off or leave it on there, stick it back on with the rest of them so you don't lose them, and definitely a little time saver there. I hadn't thought anything of it. I guess it's something I just normally do, but some people had commented on that on the last video, so I thought I'd point out that little trick. Now this is the Jake brake here. This is going to be the next thing to go on, and I just thought I'd go over real quick kind of how a Jake brake works. Now you see you've got these little plungers here that sit over the top of the injectors, and then you've got these here which go around the rocker arm for the exhaust valve, and it'll actuate on the bridge. So basically what it is you've got a solenoid valve here that opens, lets oil flow into the Jakes, which will then push these actuators out. And when the injector would fire, so your rocker arm for your injector moves, it uncovers a passage inside of the Jake brake that sends oil pressure to these actuators, which opens your exhaust valve. So basically what you're doing, you know, when you're in a coast situation, you compress the air in the cylinder, and air is like a big giant spring, so when you hit the power stroke, or the part of the cycle that, you know, creates ignition, that fires the cylinder and creates power, even if you don't inject fuel, you still have that air pressure spring in there that will push the cylinder back down. So by releasing the exhaust valves at essentially the top of the compression stroke, you release all that energy rather than storing it to push the cylinder back down, and that's how the engine brake works. So anyway, we're going to get this thing set back on there. So we torqued the Jake brakes down to 60 foot-pounds. Just go over them one more time here just to double check. Now once we've got the Jake brake set, we'll go ahead and put the valve covers on. Alright, so we got it all back together here now. It's running. Everything seems pretty happy. I think we're going to go ahead and pull it out and run it up and down the street here once. Then we're parking on the concrete, make sure that we don't have any leaks. And yeah, then I think that repair is going to be done. So we're back from our little test drive. Everything seems happy. We don't have any leaks. Everything seems good to go. Nothing on the ground here. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Have a great day.